Good morning, students. I am Visalatchi. I am handling 10th standard social science. Now I am going to take a civics lesson 1, Indian Constitution. Come to the lesson. Indian Constitution is a 10th standard civics first lesson. More than 200 years, we are under the control of British Constitution, British ruling. After a long struggle, we got independence August 15, 1947. So after that, we are ruling government. So they framed the constitution that is called the Indian Constitution. Now come to the lesson for introduction. The constitution is the fundamental law of a country. The constitution is the most important fundamental of the country. It is vehicle of a nation progress. It gives a progress for the nation. The constitution gives the progress to the nation. The framework, the distribution of progress between union and the state government. The framework, distribution, the progress of a government and the state and the union. The concept of constitution was first originated in USA, where we got the constitution USA. The first originated in USA. In this lesson, we are going to learn the need of the constitution and the salient features of the constitution. That means important features of the constitution, preamble, and the making of the constitution. How we are making the constitution, who and all the members, how many amendments is there, and that and all we are going to learn. And come the need of the constitution. What is the need for the making constitution? So India is the biggest democratic country. India is the biggest democratic country. Abraham Lincoln gave the definition of democracy. The democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Who gave the definition of democracy? Abraham Lincoln gave the definition of democracy. So what is the meaning of the democracy means? So people, they themselves govern the government, that is called the democracy of the people, by the people, and for the people. The constitution tells us the fundamental nature of our country. The constitution is telling the what is happening in the country. The constitution is essential for knowing the country's nature. And the next one is making of Indian Constitution. How the Constitution is making, who and all the members of the Constitution. The Constitution of India was framed by the Constitutional Assembly, Constituent Assembly, who is the member of the constitutions. The Cabinet Mission Plan. So Constitutional Assembly, the Cabinet Mission Plan has framed the Constitution on the year is 1946. The Assembly consists 389 members. How many members? 389 members is the framing the Constitution on the year 1946. The first Assembly meeting held on the December 9, 1946. When the meeting held, it's December 9, 1946. The first assembly held its December 9, 1946. Dr. Sachinananda Simha. What is the name? Dr. Sachinananda Simha as temporarily president of the assembly. He is the oldest member of the assembly. He is fixed as a temporarily president of the assembly. While the work was progress, the assembly work was progress, Dr. Sachinananda died. After that, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president. Do you remember Dr. Rajendra Prasad? Yes, he is a former president of after the independence, the first independent India. He is a former president of India. And not only the president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad is the president, and the two vice president also elected. First one is H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamacharya were elected as a vice president. Students, remember, Dr. Rajendra Prasad is a president and the vice president is H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamacharya. The assembly met for 11 sessions, 11 times the meeting is conducting the assembly members. More than 166 days of the meeting. That 11 sessions is held 166 days. How many days, students? 166 days is 11 session meeting is held in 166 days. During the discussion, 2,473 amendments were submitted. Some of them were accepted. Amendments means changes. Amendments means changes is given. Many, that is 2,473 amendments is given. Some of them were accepted. And after the framing of constitution, after the discussion of the constitution, after the meeting of the constitution, that constitution come to the chairmanship of the drafting committee. So final department is drafting committee. The drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Ambedkar. What is the name? Dr. Ambedkar. He is recognized as the father of the constitution. So who is the father of the constitution? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. After the drafting committee had been discussed by the people, the press, principals, provincials, assemblies and others, the constitution is given to, is submitted to that people, press and all. They are discussing it is okay or want to change anything, it is not possible to follow. So that opinions and all collecting, and if it is necessity, they give the changes. Finally adopted on November 27, 1949. So the Indian Constitution finally adopted November 27, 1949. The contents is a preamble. Preamble means context or index. So if it is see in the textbook, they are front page, they are giving the index in which subject headings, which lessons, and are giving in some pages, page numbers. So that is called preamble. So 22 parts and 395 articles and 8 schedules. The preamble is 22 parts, 395 articles and 8 schedules. The drafting constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. So this day is known as the Republic Day. So Republic Day is, every year we are celebrating January 26. So it is started to celebrate on the year is 1950. And now come to the next subheading, salient features of India. There is 9 points is given. There is importance of the features of the Indian Constitution. It is the lengthiest written constitution of the world. Really we want to proud it, because in this constitution is only written constitution and the lengthiest constitution to the world. It is borrowed most of its prevention from the constitution of various countries. If it is any important acts passed in other countries, we borrowed and given some changes. We also including that constitution to our law. It is partly rigid and partly flexible. So partly rigid means it's a stable, and flexible means we know it's unstable. So some laws is a flexible and some laws is a not flexible. It established the parliamentary system, not only the central but also in the state. So it is a parliamentary system, not only the central as well as in the state. It makes India as a secular country. What is the meaning of secular? No religion discrimination, no partiality about the religion. So India is as a secular state. It provides the independent judiciary, independent justice. It provides single citizenship. If you are the Tamil Nadu or Malayali or Keralist, and Karnataka, so whatever it is, you are the Indian citizen. They are giving the single citizenship. It introduced the universal adult fantasies. We know that. So about age of 18, we have a right to vote. That is called the universal adult fantasy. And the 9th one, it is make a special provision for minority scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, etc. These and all the saline features, important features of the Indian Constitution. Preamble is a context, so index. The term preamble refers to introduce to the Constitution. It consists the summary of the Constitution. It is given the summary of the Constitution. The preamble is the Indian Constitution is the based on the objective resolution. What is this based on? Objective resolution drafted by Jawaharlal Nehru, which was adopted by Constituent Assembly on January 22nd, 1947. It has been amended once by 42nd Amendment Act on the year is 1976, which added 3 new words on that constitutional preamble, added 3 new words: socialist, that is equality; secular, no religion based; and integrity. Integrity means sincerity. These 3 new words were added to the preamble. And the preamble begins with "We the people of India." It's a nice no. So the preamble begins with "We the people of India." This clear impels that the Constitution derives its authority from the people of India. The preamble of our Constitution states that India is sovereign, socialist, secularist, democratic, and republic. These are the important important features of the Constitution state. It gives equality of status and opportunities to all the Indians. In words, the promote fraternity among all Indians. Fraternity means brotherhood, sisterhood, like that, no? So that is called the fraternity among all Indians. And the next one is citizenship. The word citizen is derived from the Latin word civis. Civis means is a city state, a resident of city states. Constitution of India provide a single and uniform citizenship for the whole India. So Article 5 to 11 and a Part 2 of the Constitution deal with the citizenship. So introduction, the Constitution of the fundamental law of the country. It is first originated in USA and it is a vehicle of organization. The need of the Constitution is a democracy. Who give the definition of democracy? Yes, Abraham Lincoln give the definition of democracy. The Constitution tells us the fundamental nature of our country. And the next subheading is making of Indian Constitution. So Constitution Assembly and the Cabinet Mission Member Plan is organizing the constitutional in Indian Constitution. The members, 389 members is set up the Constitution. So the first meeting held in December 9, 1946. 2,473 amendments is given. Dr. Sachinananda is the first president of this Constitutional Assembly. He is the oldest member. After the death of the Sachinananda, Dr. Rajendra Prasad is the president and the vice president is H.D. Mukherjee and Krishnamacharya. These two peoples are the vice president. And the saline features of the Indian Constitution. There are 9 features is given. So Indian Constitution is the lengthiest written constitution. We are borrowing various aspects of the other countries. So some act is rigid and someone is flexible. It is a parliamentary system. And the preamble means it's a context or index, introduction. So it's an objective resolution is given in the Jawaharlal Nehru on the year is 1947. And the next subheading is citizenship. It is a Latin word, is a civics, and the meaning of civics is a resident city states. It's a single citizenship. So Indians got the single citizenship. Citizenship of 1955. Citizenship Act of 1955. This act has been amended for so far 8 times. How many times this act? 8 times. The Citizenship Act also providing for the Commonwealth citizenship. But this provision was repealed by the Constitutional Act of 2003. This provision was repealed by the Constitutional Act of 2003. And accuracy of the citizenship. So there are 5 types of citizenship. We get the citizenship to 5 types. One is by birth. All persons born in India on or before January 26, 1950, that will be treated as a citizenship on India. So the all person born in India on or before 26 January 1950, that person considered as an Indian citizen. And the second one is by descendants. So that means if the grandfather is born in India, so that person is in some other country born, that is called the outside India in on or before the 26th January 1950, that person also considered as Indian citizen. And then third one is by registration. A person can acquire citizenship in India by registration. If you want to the Indian citizen, they have to register the government and get the approval to Indian citizen. And the fourth one is nationalization. By nationalization, the foreigners can be acquiring. The foreigners is interested to get the Indian citizenship. They cancel that own country citizenship. They appeal the government authorities. They got the citizenship called Indian citizenship. They got means that is called the nationalized. And then fifth one is by incorporated of territory. If the Indian constitution is planned to add some other territory, that people is called the Indian citizenship. So India shall specially that person of the territory who shall by the citizenship of India. This 5 concept we get the citizenship of India. We just recall more. And the citizenship of India is a amendment passed. So 2003, it is 8 times. The amendment is passed 8 times. It's a Commonwealth citizenship also. That act is passed 2003. And how we get the Indian citizenship? The Citizenship Act of 1955, by birth we get the constitution, so Indian citizenship. So all persons born in India on or after January 26, 1950 are treated as a citizenship by birth. By designation. So other outside of India, they are born in outside of India, but the grandfather is born in India means they got citizenship of India. By registration, if they need the Indian citizenship, they got the registration and get the permission to the government, they got the Indian citizenship. And then fourth one is by nationalization. If the foreigners want to get the Indian citizenship means they want to cancel their own country citizenship and then apply to India, they got the Indian citizenship. That is called the by nationalization. And then fifth one is by incorporate of territory. If the India added some other territory, that territory people also consist of Indian people. That Indian people got the Indian citizenship. So the territory who shall be citizen of India. And then next one is, this and all is how we get the citizenship. And the next one is how they are losing the citizenship. There is 3 ways to losing the citizenship. One is renunciation. It can be voluntary, renounced by the citizen. If you don't want for the Indian citizen, you are hated this country means you hand over the citizenship. That is called the voluntary renouncement of citizenship. And then terminated. If you is some other country, you getting the green card or some other country is a citizenship, you got it already means, so that government is terminated your Indian citizenship. And then third one is deprived. If it is satisfied that the citizenship was acquired by the fraud. If you are fraud means your citizenship will be cancelled. Otherwise, trade with enemy's country. If you are illegally trade with enemy's countries means your citizenship will be cancelled. And then next point, if the person has been sentenced to imprisonment for the period of 2 years, if it is in the jail in 2 years means that reason also that citizenship will be loosed. So the habeas corpus, so safeguard people for the illegal arrestment. Fundamental rights. So already we have 7 fundamental rights. In a part 3 we got it, part 3, and article 12 to 35 is mentioning the fundamental rights. Originally the constitution provides 7 fundamental rights. Usually we are saying the fundamental rights is 7, but at present it's 6 is in the regulation. Part 3 is rightly described as the Magna Carta of India. While fundamental rights are available to all persons, fundamental rights are available to the Indian citizen. So fundamental rights is the most important aspects of the Indian citizen. And right to constitutional remedies. So what is the constitutional remedies? Both Supreme Court and High Court are empowered to issue the 5 kinds of writs to habeas corpus. The first 5 habeas corpus is issued. So Supreme Court is India's highest court, and the High Court is every state we have a High Court. The Supreme Court is called the guardian of the Constitution. Which is called the guardian of the Constitution? Supreme Court is called the guardian of the Constitution. According to Dr. Ambedkar, Article 32, Ambedkar said, the heart and soul of the Constitution. What is Ambedkar told? The heart and soul of the Constitution. So where he told, the Article 32 we can see. And Article 32 say, what is the soul of the Constitution? Article 32 is the soul of the Constitution. What is the Article 32? It allows individuals to seek redress for the violence of the fundamental rights. If we are inhale for the violence, if you are happening for violence to you, you supposed to oppress the act. You supposed to follow that act. Now come to the rebels. The corporate rebels safeguard people for illegal harassment. So many films you have seen, no? If it is one person going to be arrested, the police give the arrest warrant. He can raise the question, what is the reason I am going to arrest? What is the purpose to arrest me? We can right to ask that question. And mandamus, it protect the pioneers who request legal help to get his work. If it is any government officers can't do the work properly, if you are giving the petition to the court, that court give the judge order to do that work properly. That right is you have it to do. And the prohibition. It prohibited a subordinate court from acting by all the jurisdiction. If the subordinate court want to follow the High Courts and Supreme Court's orders, and sentence in order to issue by the subordinate court by overstepping, but the High Court and the Supreme Court have a rights to overcoming the subordinate courts giving judgment. We see it in many films, no? So I see it in the Supreme Court, I see it in a High Court. So if it is not a clear judgment, I go for the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court give the judgment means the subordinate court can't change that. But if the subordinate court give this judgment means the Supreme Court and the High Court can change. It provides the seize or capture to public office through illegal manner. So the individual person cannot capture the government office. And the next subheading is suspense of the, that is stop the fundamental rights. The president can right to stop the fundamental rights. So in that season, that corona period, the president, the prime minister can give the subordinate, can give the right to lockdown. The prime minister requests to stay at home, and keep the distance, the social distance and all. So that rights have the president in the case of the war. When the president makes the proclamation of emergency, emergency means if it is happening in the war timing, under the Article 352, the freedom guided under Article 19 are automatically suspended. So the president have a right to suspend our fundamental rights, our freedoms. So Article 19 only can do. So this is mentioning in Article 32, that Article 32, and under that Article 19 only the president can suspend the freedom. Article 19 means freedom to speech and assembly, express and the provincials. And these orders must be approved by the parliament, not the individual person or the president directly can't do. He discussed in the parliament. But he cannot suppress the freedoms given under the Article 20 and 21. So 19 he can suspend, but Article 20 and 21 he cannot suspend, because Article 20 is protection in respect of conservation for the offense. So, and the Article 21 is protection of life and the personal liberty. So this and all, president cannot suspend it and the freedom about the Indian Constitution. Yes, up to this I concluded this session, and the rest of them we can see it in the next class. Thank you, students.